Black Widow is a movie that has an interesting idea and terrible execution. Its biggest offense is literally nothing that happens in this movie matters in the long run for the MCU. With that in mind, this isn't a terrible movie, far from it, but unfortunately, it's probably the most useless Marvel movie next to the Iron Man sequels and the first two Thor movies, and Captain Marvel. Honestly, this movie actually has a really cool setup with this covert KGB stuff happening in the US during the Cold War. I mean, technically, it's not really the Cold War, it's like post-Cold War stuff because they couldn't get the dates to line up with the actor's age, but I guess I can just overlook this one time. Jim Hopper and his wife are a part of some top-secret splinter cell group in the U.S. where they're tasked with doing something. I don't actually remember what it was. I don't think the movie ever said what they were doing and if it mattered. Anyway, they gather their kids to make a run for it because we're shown that they're trying to outrun the police and escape from the United States because Jim Hopper did something, and we don't actually know what it was. So they go to this farm place where they uncover this super crappy airplane, and Jim tries to get the plane out, but then SHIELD agents start shooting at them in trucks, and then Jim starts shooting at them with this dinky little hunting rifle, which is actually kind of a stupid scene, but it's also kind of cool, so I'm going to talk about it. Basically, Jim Hopper's just shooting at these cop cars that aren't actually cop cars, but they're SHIELD cars, but they look like cop cars, and they have cop car sirens, which I think was meant to push some sort of agenda. But he's using this dinky little hunting rifle to shoot at them, and there's all these cool explosions and death, which is honestly kind of cool to see. But then it gets kind of stupid because he jumps onto the wing of the airplane, and he's still shooting super accurately, and even though the other guys have like dinky little pistols, they can't hit him, which is kind of funny because they end up hitting his wife and she dying or something, and then Natasha has to go up and fly the plane, and he's still shooting at them, and then there's all these more explosions and stuff. And I mean, it's a cool scene. Go watch it. It's cool. It's great. Best scene in the movie. Only scene worth watching. Of course, then it got stupid because, the plane takes off, and all of a sudden the U.S. just gives up. They don't send any of their own planes after them. Somehow this plane is able to have enough fuel to get from fucking Ohio? To get from Ohio to Cuba. It's a farming plane. How does a farming plane have the fuel to get from Ohio to fucking Cuba while it should be being chased by, fighter jets and other United States aircraft? Also, I should mention that SHIELD didn't have that acronym until the first Iron Man, but I mean, I guess that was retconned in Captain Marvel too, but I mean, I don't even know why that was an issue in the first Iron Man to begin with, so, I mean, I don't know. It's worth mentioning because I'm an asshole like that, and I like pointing out stuff that other people don't care about. Anyway, at Cuba, we see Cuban soldiers taking Mom away to a hospital, and evil white Russian guy congratulate Officer Hopper on his mission. He then says his daughters are ready, and a Cuban just grabs them because I guess he understands English. Anyway, Natasha's sister gets grabbed, who I'm going to call Bimbo for this review, and she kicks the Cuban soldier in the arm and grabs his pistol and shouts in both Russian and English, "She'll kill all the Cubans." And then Jim's like, "Just give me the gun," and then Natasha's like, "I'm not going back," and then Hopper's like, "Nah, it'll be fine, you'll be fine, you guys look out for each other," and then they're given to the evil white Russian guy, where he ships them off with other girls in shipping containers to evil Russian headquarters. So this next scene is nothing but shock value, and it's also kind of funny that it's nothing but shock value because it's also the opening credits. But anyway, basically hundreds of little girls are being held at gunpoint and set off in lines by these Combine-looking Russians. And there's lots of screaming, and there's this sad music that's this shitty cover to Nirvana's song Smells Like Teen Spirit. This scene exists for no other reason than to have an edgy credits transition, and the cover is like, it's really bad. Okay, I can't play it obviously, but just take my word for it. It is bad. I mean, this is Disney we're talking about. There are plenty, I mean plenty, of edgy and depressing songs that exist that they could use. They could easily afford these other songs. Not only that, but this scene really just doesn't do anything. I mean, it's trying to show like this human trafficking kind of thing, which you'd think I would be interested in, but it's stupid. Okay, it's just really stupid. Like, what's the point of this scene? It adds nothing to the movie. It's there for shock value. It doesn't make any sense as to why these Combine guys are, pointing these guns at these future Black Widows. I mean, what do we get out of this? What do they get out of this? What's the point? It's stupid. It's nothing. It exists for only shock value. There's no other reason for this scene other than this depressing, edgy credits transition scene. It has no purpose in this movie. You take it out, literally nothing in the movie changes. Although that could be said for a lot of the scenes in this movie, but we'll get to that in a minute. So after the credits, we cut to 21 years later during the events of Civil War. Now, let me stop you right here. We don't get any backstory as to how Natasha escapes from evil White Russian. We don't know how she breaks away from the mind control thing that he uses on the Black Widows. We don't even learn about her training. We don't learn anything about her past, which is what the entire point of the trailers of this movie showed. We get none of that. I would have much rather have seen Natasha's life leading up to her joining the Avengers than whatever this shitty James Bond Winter Soldier knockoff is trying to be. I mean, this scene just shows her trying to outrun S.H.I.E.L.D., which I don't care about. I don't care about S.H.I.E.L.D. They're not... I want to know about her training. I want to know about her past. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter because, she just outsmarted S.H.I.E.L.D. anyway, so, Thanks, movie! Cut to Budapest, where we see these Black Widows trying to assassinate someone. They fail because they kind of suck at their jobs, if I'm being honest. Like, there's 4 of them. They all have, snipers on this dinky little, Budapest schoolhouse or whatever. And they can't kill this one bitch in there. Instead, we get a chase scene where Bimbo chases down the girl they're trying to kill, and she slams a door in her face, which was really funny. Then there's this brief melee where Bimbo kills the girl they were hunting, and then the girl that they were hunting sprays this red gas or something in her face, and then Bimbo's like, oh, and then she realizes that she's been evil this whole time, or something, I don't know. So now Bimbo is running from the other Black Widows, and then the Black Widows are like, we're going to authorize the Taskmaster Protocol, which... just keep that in mind because I will be coming back to that. So then we cut back to Natasha, who's in Iceland or something, and goes to this house with this random diverse character. I don't remember his name. I don't think they ever said his name, and I don't remember anything about him except he's this really chill weapons contractor or something. Anyway, this is her new safe house that he set up for her, which is odd because you would think that a character like Black Widow would have had these safe houses prior to anything happening, but whatever, I guess. So he gives her some mail, and then they talk about Budapest and argue if it's Pest or Pest. God damn it, movie. Why? This is so pointless. So then Natasha finds out that in her mail she's got the red gas that was apparently sent to her by her sister, which is weird. First off, how does her sister know how to contact Black Widow? And second, where did her sister get all this red gas stuff? And then next we see Natasha just driving down a road at night, and I don't remember what led up to this part. I don't think anything led up to this part. Stuff just happens in this movie. You have to accept it. And, what happens next is just so fucking stupid. So she's just driving along this bridge, and then there's this explosion that happens, and it flips her car over a bunch, and she's somehow alive, and all she does is just shout, I don't think Ross has authority over here. What the fuck? What's that supposed to mean? Since when has that stopped the United States from operating in other countries and murdering civilians? But then this evil-looking, ominous figure emerges from the shadows, and this is just an absolute giant of a man with this cool-looking skull mask and staring down menacingly at her. I think. I can't actually tell if they're staring down menacingly or not. Anyway, there's this fight that's kind of cool, but also kind of dumb, because apparently the guy just, copies all her moves like this is a fucking video game or a Zanny video or whatever, but Taskmaster just beats her ass multiple times, but never actually kills her despite having plenty of opportunities to do so. This is kind of stupid when we find out later on, but I'll come back to this. So Taskmaster is looking for like the red jizz or whatever, and he somehow finds it in the briefcase, but surprise, surprise, Natasha somehow actually has it, which we never see the sleight of hand where she grabs it. Like, I don't know how she grabbed it. Last we saw it was in the briefcase. He threw her towards the car. She must have grabbed it in the 2 seconds she was right there, but we never see it. She just has it. Okay, first of all, why is this guy even here? How does he even know to be here? How does he even know that Natasha has this stuff? How does he know where Natasha is? And why would he think that that car was hers? Like, we don't get anything about this scene. It just happens. Like I said, stuff just happens in this movie, and you have to accept it. This never comes back into play ever. We never learn I think we're missing a scene. I think there was a scene cut out of the movie because everything that happens comes from this scene, and we don't know why this scene happens, which is, oh my god. Okay, so next she's in Budapest. I might be missing, I might have forgotten a scene or something, or maybe I just missed something, but I don't actually remember how she got to Budapest. I think maybe the arms dealer guy gave her a ride or something, but I don't know. I just remember her being in Budapest. No, I'm not spending $30 to rewatch the movie. The movie was dog shit. I'm not going to rewatch it. Anyway, Natasha walks into this building that's like this safe house or something, but she like senses that there's someone there or something. I don't know. She's just walking around the building with her gun drawn, and then she finds out that Bimbo's in there, and they're just pointing their guns at each other. And then this scene this is just a really stupid fight. Okay, so they're pointing their guns at each other, right? And they're within arm's length of each other, so they could like choke each other like Darth Vader in that one scene in Star Wars, right? But what they do instead is they keep like disarming each other like the way that people are trained to do when they're unarmed. Like, so they keep stealing each other's gun, which is really just dumb because if they're this close to disarm each other, why aren't they hitting each other? And if they're able to disarm each other this way, what is that yielding? Like, what are you doing? You're just prolonging the fight at this point. If you can disarm the opponent and you're both disarming each other, was this supposed to be cool? Because it makes no sense. I don't get what this is trying to entail. Just fucking shoot each other. So something happens and then they actually do start fighting, and it's just kind of pointless because then they get attacked by Black Widows, and then we get this kind of cool but also kind of stupid chase scene where they're running around the rooftops. There's this sniper bitch that like loses sight of them, so she just starts chasing after them, which I don't think is protocol, but I mean, that whatever. So they're running around these rooftops while these Black Widows down on the ground are shooting up at them, and then they knock this thing from this building over like a chimney or something as they're trying to jump away from Sniper Bitch. And they're swinging on something. I think it was like a zip line or something. And Sniper Bitch just falls and breaks her leg on the ground, but Natasha and Bimbo just slam into a building and then fall, which... Why? Why is it that the girl who fell from the roof breaks her leg, but the two girls who slam into a fucking building and then fall, nothing happens to them? They're just fine. If anything, the girl who fell would have like rolled or something as soon as she hit the ground. Why? Why do these characters have this plot armor? Like this, it's not even consistent. Like, plot armor is fine, but be consistent with it. Like, if someone can't survive that, well, how can they survive slamming into a building? Like, why? What's even the point? Anyway, the sniper girl's just like sitting in like this puddle of water, and she holds her arm up like she's one of the clone troopers from the Clone Wars show, and then she's just like, I'm sorry. And then this like red stuff on her arm just like blows her head off, but not really because this is PG-13. What the fuck? This is a suicide gun that like is used to like stop these people from being captured, right? So if like they got captured, they would just point their arm at their head and their head would blow up, right? So why the fuck does it have a countdown? If you knew about this countdown, hell, you don't even have to know about the countdown. You just have to see it happening. You just cut her arm off. Or point it away. Like, what's the point of the countdown? I did hear some people argue that it was in case she got rescued or somehow escaped, but that's just stupid because if the entire point is to stop yourself from being captured by the enemy, you would just shoot yourself right away. You wouldn't, wait to be rescued with a shitty little countdown. Anyway, the scene is just whatever because they just run away and then they're being chased by Taskmaster and a fucking APC. Like, I'm not kidding you. This guy's in like a fucking tank, plowing through buildings, killing tons of civilians, and the Budapest military and or police are nowhere to be seen. I get it. Disney thinks that cops are bad. I get it. Disney thinks that cops are evil and useless. So why isn't the military here? Why is this just happening? Hell, you could have had the cops there and have the tank just plow over them. I mean, shit, I know tons of people who would have loved that scene. Also, Budapest isn't this, like, shitty third world country. It's a second world country that was backed by the Soviet Union during the Cold War. So the fact that there's no military, like, coming in for this APC thing is just stupid. Like, why? What the fuck, man? It's killing civilians and crashing through buildings, and the cops, there's no sirens at all in the background. Like, nothing. Like, come on. Like, how do you mess up on such small little details? Anyway, it doesn't really matter because they end up escaping. I think the APC actually crashes or something like that scene in Uncharted 2, but I don't know. That's what I remember. They're just kind of hanging out in this little market area and they're like shopping around and stuff, and then Bimbo makes a ton of jokes about buying stuff like the shitty jacket that she bought and all this other stuff that she wants to do in life. Like, what the fuck? In Winter Soldier, we are very clearly shown that Bucky, like, he's on the verge of, like, killing himself because of what he did while brainwashed. But no, in this movie, it's just a fucking joke. Like, it's like a fucking acid trip or something for them. They did it once, they enjoyed it, they're never gonna fucking do it again. So they get into contact with that weapons dude and gives them the shitty helicopter, and he's like, come on, baby girl, you didn't give me enough time to get something nice. And then Bimbo makes a joke about the chocolat bar that she's eating that's like years old. Fucking hate this character, man. Why the fuck is she in this fucking movie? So they're on their way to Russia to free their dad. How? How did they find out where he was? How do they know where he is? How do they know he's still alive? I mean, I know Bimbo says he is, but I don't remember anything about how she knows that, how she knows where he is, why he's even still alive. Like, movie doesn't explain it. They don't explain how they get there. And, well, anyway, Jim Hopper's just in prison with all these other Russians, and he's breaking their arm wrestling with them because he's super, super strong because of Soviet Russia. And, I mean, what do you want me to say? There's not much to say here. They somehow sent him mail ahead of time, which I don't know how. I don't know why they even... Again, none of this is explained. They sent him mail somehow. He gets it. He gets this toy that's of himself back in his glory days. Like, this is some fucking Friday Night Lights shit. And he breaks the head off accidentally. And he finds an earpiece in there. Like, what the fuck is the plan? What if he didn't break the head off? He would never have found the earpiece. What the fuck are you trying to do here? So he puts the earpiece on, and then they talk to him, and they're like, hey, you gotta escape. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he just, like, does some stuff. He breaks all of these doors down, and then he runs into this courtyard. This is such a stupid plan. He gets into the courtyard. The helicopter's not there. There's Russian guards on the bridge and stuff above him with machine guns waiting to shoot down the helicopter. And behind him, there's a bunch of these angry prisoners who want to rape his buttle or something. Somehow they show up in time before the prisoners get to rape his butthole, and they just yell at him to climb, and he starts climbing, and then there's machine guns shooting at the helicopter. Red Guardian's being pulled down because people want to rape his butthole, and then this guy with an RPG fires an RPG at the helicopter but misses, and despite the fact the helicopter's being full of holes, the RPG is the thing that scared them. Then because of the RPG, this causes an avalanche. Then Red Guardian finally gets onto the helicopter, and then all the prisoners and the guards in the prison just die because of the avalanche. And then inside the helicopter, Jim Hopper makes a joke because his daughter's upset at him and makes a joke about it being their time of the month. And then I get mad at him for that because they can't have kids, they can't have periods, and what the fuck? I thought the whole point, I thought one of the biggest deals about this was that they couldn't have kids, and that was a huge impact that they had to deal with. That was a big thing, and it's treated as just a freaking joke in this movie. What? Come on. So they don't think they have enough fuel, and then they say that they do have enough fuel to get to their mom's house, and then they don't actually have enough fuel because the helicopter in the next scene just comes crashing down comedically. This is the fucking Madagascar 3 airplane scene. Why? This is a Marvel movie. This isn't a fucking cartoon. They should be dead. And then they walk around for a bit, and then they find their mom's house, and then their mom's in this pig farm, and she's doing experiments on a bunch of pigs to control the pigs with this mind control thing that controls pigs and also Black Widows. And why is she controlling pigs again? Pigs aren't exactly, one-to-one with humans, right? So what's the point in controlling pigs? Pigs are very, very different. If anything, mice, there's a reason why we experiment on mice. It's because they have a pretty similar, they have some pretty similar, biological makeup in them. That's why we do experiments on them. They have similarities to us. So, why pigs? Don't know. And then they go inside the house, and then Jim Hopper's like, ooh, baby, I'm kind of tight. And then the mom's like, ooh, baby, I want to be fucked. And then Bimbo's like, oh my God. That's super inappropriate. And then Natasha's like, guys, just grow up. All of you, grow up. And then they sit down to have lunch after Red Guardian puts on his Red Guardian suit. And it's funny because he's fat, so he doesn't fit in the suit. And it's funny because the suit's super tight on him. And it's also funny because it's a dude, not a girl, because if it was a girl, it'd be sexist and mean. And what the crap, movie? Why are you doing this? Is this really what you want to do? Is this really the message you want to push? Really? Really? This is what you want to push? Okay, I see. So during dinner, the mom brings in the pig, and she starts talking about how she's working on something to control free will, and she's got this device, little tablet thingy that can control the free will of the pig, and then she tells the pig to not breathe, and I'm pretty sure someone's going to be like, why aren't you getting upset about this? This is something that you would love to get upset about. First off, despite how bad the writing of this movie is, it's not a bad idea, and also in the story and game that I'm creating, I have kind of a similar thing with the biological makeup of humans, so I would be a bit of a hypocrite if I, got upset about this movie doing this while I'm doing my thing and my stuff. So, like I said before, honestly, it's not that bad an idea. It's kind of a cool idea, but like I said, the execution to this is bad, but I'm not going to criticize this too much because It's cool, I guess. I don't know. Although I did think it was funny that she tells the pig to not breathe and it's dying, and then everyone in the theater I was in was like, oh my God, the fucking pig is dying. Tell it to breathe. It'll die. No, not the pig. Please, anyone but the pig. Please don't have the pig die. Oh please. Which is kind of fucking retarded because no one gives a shit that we slaughter pigs for bacon and ham and all this other great meat every fucking day, but whatever, I guess. Can't have a pig suffocating because that's so much worse than us eating the pig afterwards. But during this, they get into a fight. I think about why the mom's being kind of a cunt and jerk because she's still helping the bad guy. The evil white Russian guy is still working with her, and she's still working with him, and she's kind of a bad person. I'm not sure why we're supposed to root for her because she's only changing sides after her family shows up. She's still evil. She's not doing this because she's a good person. She's doing it because she knows that she'll get her ass whooped if she tries to fight them or something. I don't know. The family go into different rooms, and then the dad goes to see Bimbo, and Bimbo's crying and upset, and she doesn't want to talk to him, and he tries to make this analogy and like this heartwarming story about how he went fishing one day and fell in a river, and he got his hands cold, and was going to get frostbite, so his dad peed on his hands, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And I wanted to walk out of the theater. Seriously, movie? Seriously? A pee joke? A pee joke. You're having a pee joke in your super serious discount Winter Soldier James Bond kind of movie. Like, sure, those movies have some comedic value in them, but they're a fucking pee joke? Seriously? How old are you guys? 6? A pee joke? The fuck, Disney? Who fucking directed this? Who the fuck thought this was a good fucking idea? Tasha and Mom are talking about something, and then they get attacked by the Combine-looking dudes, and then Red Guardian gets shot with a bunch of tranquilizers and falls over hilariously, and then the Combine dudes capture the rest of the family, and it turns out that Mom betrayed them, and I just find it funny that this movie that's obviously trying to pander to, like, the woman demographic, you know, like, oh, we don't need no strong men, that kind of stuff. How, in this movie, the female characters get overrun by a bunch of men, and the men are the only ones who take over the place, and not, you know, the Black Widows, but, I mean, whatever. So they're taken away in these VTOL things, and then they're taken to evil white Russian dude's headquarters, the Red Rum. Okay, let me break this down for you. The Red Rum is like this fucking space station from, like, Star Wars Battlefront on the PSP, right? It's on Earth for some reason, and no one who looks into the sky for a living sees this. Like, it's in Earth, and it's apparently above the United States because of what happens in the end, where a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. guys come and show up and investigate the wreckage. Okay, so no one who looks into the sky sees this. No airplanes have seen this. No spaceships have seen this. No satellites have seen this. What is this thing? It's not in a third world country where this could actually make sense. This is in the United States. It's just there. No one sees it. No one's detecting it. Sure, it could be indetectable by radar and sonar and whatever. Fine, I can understand that. But it wouldn't be invisible to the naked eye. It's not invisible to the naked eye. If anyone looked up into the sky, they would see it because it's so freaking huge. The fact that we can see the moon from Earth is a clear indication that we would see this thing. Anyone who looks at satellites for a living would see this if the satellite passed over it. I don't care what kind of cloaking techniques this thing has. It's not invisible. We can see it clearly with the naked eye. It's also not like it's shooting down aircraft or anything, because then that would cause suspicion. So they must not have thought this through. That's the only reason that this thing exists in the air. They didn't think this through. Like, there's no way they could have thought this through. Also, real fast, let's talk about Red Room. The Red Room is not what this movie thinks it is. And to be fair, maybe they weren't intending to make it that way, but considering the other stuff in this movie, the human trafficking thing at the beginning, I think they were trying to make this like the real Red Room. IRL, the Red Room is a real thing. You have to know what you're doing in order to access it, but you can access a place on the dark web called the Red Room. Here you participate in interactive rape, torture, and murder. It is one of the most horrific things imaginable that can be done to another human being, and it's streamed on these websites on the dark web, in specific Red Room related websites. It's not a fucking place that trains these shitty assassins to do nothing. It's a real life. It's real life, okay? These things exist in real life. They can be literally any room on Earth. someone could come to your house and, if they know what they're doing, hack into your internet and upload them torturing, murdering, and whatever to you onto red room sites on the dark web. And it could be from your bedroom. It's not just the singular place that's just hidden for all to see. The reason why these things exist is because they can be literally anywhere. I know I'm getting a bit off topic, but I don't really care. I mean, I would love to see Marvel actually try to deal with the real Red Room and dark web stuff. That would be really cool, I think, but I know they would never do that, so why even make this a point that it's called the Red Room? I mean, sure, maybe that's the case in the comics. I haven't read the comics, but still. Red Room on its own isn't exactly scary. I mean, yeah, I know. Oh, red rum, murder, murder, murder. But I mean, on its own, calling something the Red Room is not that scary. And especially not in this context where it's a place to, like, it's some sort of, like, assassin training facility. Like, haha, funny, Red Room, murder, murder, haha, funny. It's not scary, and it's not really intriguing. In the case of what I mentioned, where the real-life Red Rooms, that is scary because they do exist. We know what happens in them, and we don't know how to stop them. They can happen literally anywhere in the world. Okay, this rant was over. I'm sorry that this went on for as long as it did. Okay, so Mom gets taken to Evil White Russian's room, and he talks to her and then touches her face, and it reveals that it's Natasha, and Taskmaster points a gun at her, and then we get this fucking flashback to Natasha and Mom's plan. What? Why? This is a movie, not a TV show. We were literally there a minute ago. What? Why? Why do we have a flashback in a movie like this? We were just there. Did they mess up in editing? Did they accidentally put this scene there? Like, was this supposed to be like, oh, this is what they did. This is why it's cool. Like, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Why is it happening? This is a movie, not a TV show. If that happened at the end of one episode and then we go to the next episode and we come back to this, yeah, that would have been cool to see. Not in this. This is a movie. We were right there. We should have seen this happen there. It still wouldn't have changed anything. We, the audience, would know that everything's going to be okay anyway. Seriously, whoever wrote this in, whoever put this in, whatever, even if this was a mistake, I don't care. I do not care at all if this was a mistake, if this was intentional, whatever. Anyone who was a part of this should be fired and never work in the entertainment industry again. Ever. Period. Hands down. I don't care. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that there's kind of this shitty subplot where Natasha tried to kill Evil White Russian by putting C4 or something in his daughter's backpack a few years ago. This is pretty stupid because despite knowing that he has a daughter and knowing where he works, her idea was to just blow up this entire fucking building that's probably just full of these innocent civilians and stuff. Not only that, but we're expected to believe that Evil White Russian was able to bone a bitch and raise a child and care and love for the child. Seriously? We're expected to believe that this guy could have been was a great father figure to this girl. Look, I'm not saying that, like, human traffickers or abusers and stuff like that don't and can't love people. That's not true. There are cases where that's not the case, where they do love and care for children that they own. Well, not own, but raise and whatnot. But this makes no sense. We've dehumanized this character so much. Now we're trying to show that he's somewhat human for having a daughter that he actually cares about. What? Why? It makes no sense. This is not a character that we're supposed to be sympathetic towards in the slightest. So why should we even care that he has a daughter? Oh, and this is just great right here. All right. So you put the C4 in the backpack, right? And then Natasha blows it up. And it blows up this entire building, right? This entire city block is just leveled. The girl and the guy both survive. Look, I could see the guy maybe surviving that. But his daughter would be fucking dead. She'd be in millions of pieces just scattered all over the place.
Because C4 isn't like a fucking hand grenade in like Call of Duty or something where you could survive it if you were just barely out of the range of it. In real life, C4 would blow you up and you'd go into millions of tiny little chunks, and it's really fucking funny because somehow she survives and all she has is just this giant, like, ugly looking face.
Oh yeah, she's also Taskmaster. Okay. Look, I haven't read the comics, but I can damn well tell you that this person is not Taskmaster. Okay, first of all, Taskmaster isn't some henchman for some kingpin villain, I don't think. I'm pretty sure they're not, based off of what I've seen in the Avengers video game. Second off, they're not a fucking girl. Alright? I know that someone's going to get upset about that, but it is important if you're adapting a comic book or a book in general of a character. You can't change an established character's person. Be that skin color, age, race, gender, whatever. You can't change that because they're already an established character. Just create a new character at that point. Don't just rip off this character. Also, from what I know, this is not anything like Taskmaster. Taskmaster wouldn't have let Natasha go at all. They would have killed her had they had the chance. In fact, considering that this person knows who did this to her, the fact that this is this guy's daughter who knows that her current life is because of Natasha, she should be trying relentlessly forever. She should never stop trying to get her revenge on Natasha for what Natasha did to her. Period. Hands down. She should never, ever try to stop. She should always be trying to kill Natasha. Why? Why isn't she? Like, it makes no sense. Like, come on. Seriously, come on. First, you break a character, an established character, and make it into something they're not. And second, you're not even consistent with who this character is now. God. So Natasha tries to kill him, but she can't because because evil white Russian guy can't be killed by Black Widows because of his fucking smell. Oh my gosh. He's safe from being assassinated by his own assassins because of the smell his body gives off. I'm sorry. Okay. Why? Why? Why is that the thing that keeps him alive? Like, at this point, you might as well make him out covered in Cheeto dust and Mountain Dew just dripping from his lips. Just make it like super fat neckbeard stereotype. Because he just uses his smell to stay alive. Like, what the crap, dude? Who wrote this? This is really funny. Like, what? Why? This doesn't make any sense. Like, why? You mean to tell me that Natasha would have killed him if she had a cold or something? Or that... or that if she just went to the other end of the room and plugged her nose and held her breath, she could kill him? What the crap? Did they seriously not think this through? Okay, so, but for real, the explanation that they give is kind of stupid. Apparently he just rewired their brain or something so that his smell means that they can't bring harm to whatever is causing the smell. What? That doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, I'll give you the free willed control thing because that's kind of cool and makes some sense, but the smell... You said that they like messed with some nerve so that they can't hurt him because of his smell, which doesn't make any sense. Like, a tiny little nerve in the front of the brain or the head is able to control
what you can or can't hurt because of smell. Like, what? Oh man, this is funny. This movie's fucking great. I'm sorry I said anything negative about it. This is hilarious. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Red Guardian and Bimbo are just kind of locked up in the cell, and then they escape. But then not Taskmaster comes to fight them, and then Jim's like he's gonna like defend his daughter or whatever, but he doesn't. He gets his butt whooped because he's a man. Because we can't have any strong men in these movies anymore. Mom's just like blowing the base up or something. Like she's just like going around like disrupting these engines or whatever. So the base falls down like that Halo 2 level, which is really funny. Bimbo just kind of F's off. I don't know what she does or where she goes, but she just disappears for a while. I don't remember why, but then during the fight with Red Guardian and not Taskmaster gets locked in the cell, and apparently the cell's too strong for even not Taskmaster to break, which is also probably something that not Taskmaster could do. Then we go back to evil white Russian guy's room, and he's kind of just beating the crap out of Natasha because she can't defend herself apparently, because apparently defending yourself causes harm. I mean, it's actually kind of cool because we do see her getting hit and knocked down, and she just keeps getting back up, which, you know, it's honestly kind of a cool scene. I liked this. Sort of. Not really. It's weird. It's cool, but it's also kind of stupid, but whatever. He goes on his villain monologue about how he apparently has control of the entire world, which makes absolutely no sense. So wait, you mean to tell me that this guy, throughout all the movies, has been in charge of the world? He's been in charge of all the world leaders because of his mind control thing, and he hasn't done anything? Like, let's talk about him for a minute, okay? This is probably, without a doubt, the worst Marvel villain ever. He doesn't do anything. He didn't do anything before. He didn't do anything during this movie. The Black Widows are completely useless. They don't do anything in any of the movies before. Or this movie. Why? He says he controls the world. Why hasn't he done anything with it? Why does he have the world leaders be independent people at that point? Why aren't they all like, you know, caricatures of each other or him or whatever? Why do they all have their own kind of stance on stuff? Like, what's the point? And if he does control the world leaders, then what's the point of being secret about this? To keep himself safe from the Avengers? Because I hate to tell you this, but if this guy is actually in charge of the world, the Avengers couldn't do anything. All right? I mean, and also, if he is in charge of the world, what does that mean for countries like Wakanda and these other countries that are, you know, kind of a thing in these movies? Like, what does it mean for them? Are they a part of this? Or who's a part of this? Who's not a part of this? Like, how do you control a specific person? Like, United States, we get a new president, like, maybe at most, at earliest, every 4 years. So, but does he just mind control a person for 4 years? 8 at the most, and it's just like, all right, who's next? Like, again, and unless he's bluffing, then this just makes it even more pathetic because, oh, he can't even control the world leaders. So what's even the point of him? And if he can control the world leaders, why hasn't he done anything? What's the point? There is none. Because this movie was pointless. It's fucking retarded. After the monologue, Natasha slams her head onto the table, and you can see that there's blood on the table, but when the camera looks back at her, she looks fine. There's no, like, cut or scar or anything like that on her head. And what she did was when she slammed her face down, it severed the nerve that prevented her from not hurting him because of smell. Do I even have to talk about how this is probably one of the most retarded things I've ever seen? And I'm not even just talking about the fact that they forgot to put blood on her forehead or whatever. If you were hitting your head hard enough to sever a nerve you would be knocked out. You'd be incapacitated. You might actually be dead. Okay? I had a foot surgery just a few months ago, and the doctors had to move some stuff around, like a tendon and some nerves, and it's still numb after like almost 4 months. So you mean to tell me that she was able to sever a nerve by slamming her head down on a table hard enough, and she's just fine? Really? Really? Seriously, what the... Oh my god. Anyway, so now that the brain's severed or whatever, she still doesn't actually kill him because conveniently all these Black Widows show up and then they just beat Black Widow's ass, and it's kind of funny. And he's just trying to escape from his crashing, burning facility with all these Combine-looking Russian guys, and then, no joke, not even kidding, this might honestly be the dumbest thing I've ever seen after that last thing. He loses because he forgot to bring his fucking laptop that controls everyone. His laptop. What the fuck? God, dude, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Nope, I'm done. At this point, there's really just not that much more to say. Bimbo comes in, gives the Black Widows the red jizz stuff. They're all just kind of like, oh my god, we got to get out of here. The place is crashing down. Oh my god. We got to get you guys out of here. Thank you for saving us. Like, there's no, like, realization that they're not, like, trying to figure out what's going on or why they're there. They're not recollecting on the fact that they've done all these horrible things in their life. They're not trying to make sense of anything. They just kind of accept what's happening, like, immediately. Like immediately. Immediately. And, I mean, they just help them escape. They go back after Not Taskmaster, and even though Not Taskmaster keeps trying to kill Natasha, I mean, she still gets off with them. Evil White Russian guy and all his men, they just die because they crashed into some debris, which was dumb. They crash land. Everything just crashes into this empty field in America, I think, because S.H.I.E.L.D. starts showing up here. Natasha goes over to Not Taskmaster and helps Not Taskmaster up. The other Black Widows all have this VTOL conveniently, and they're just like, we'll take care of her. We'll bring her with us. And they just peace out for forever, I guess. Red Guardian, Mom, Bimbo, they all peace out too. I mean, Natasha just stays at the crash site and goes away with S.H.I.E.L.D. And then the end credit scene shows that Bimbo is going to get revenge against Hawkeye for killing Natasha in Endgame, which, because apparently being in just one movie together and never being mentioned in any other movie before and after means that they really care about each other. Like, what the crap? I really don't know what more you want me to say. I mean, it's a terrible movie, but it's also not like the worst thing ever, which I'm kind of disappointed to say. I mean, the acting was actually good, even though the writing was terrible. Special effects were amazing as always. It was well shot. Choreography was good. For the most part, I mean, that's about it. It's probably the worst Marvel movie. But at the same time, that means it's better than most other movies that I've seen recently. I mean, say what you want about Marvel movies, but you know that at the very least, and they're all kind of the same. So you see one, you see them all. And in this case, I mean, you've seen it before. So, I mean, you're at least going to not be bored with it, I guess. I guess that's debatable because this is the most boring out of the ones I have seen, which is basically all of them.
But I don't know, man. What more do you want me to say? We didn't need it. It added nothing to the franchise. We didn't need it. If anything, it actually ruins her character a lot because all this stuff that happens, she just didn't care about until now. I don't know. Like, there's all these retcons in it that make absolutely no sense. The trailers are completely misleading. They show what could have been an incredible movie of her in her past, trying to escape from that kind of stuff. But no, she's already escaped. She's just, I guess, tying up loose ends. Like, this almost feels like the second movie to a movie we never got. I guess that's just where it's going to be. Like, this is probably the only Marvel movie next to Captain Marvel that I'm probably never going to ever watch again. Because they were both just absolutely pointless. They add nothing to the franchise. They shouldn't exist, period. And much like Endgame, they just go on telling something we did not need. We did not need these stories. I don't know what more you want me to say. Don't watch this movie, I guess. Just don't watch it. It's bad. It's a Marvel movie. If you want to watch it, you're going to be missing a lot more stuff. You're better off not watching it because even though, yeah, it was fine enough as a movie, you'll enjoy it if you watch it as a movie. You don't need it. If you're a Marvel fan, sure, I guess watch it, but if you're just a casual fan, just skip it. You don't need it. It adds nothing. I guess that's all I got. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I guess I'm just done talking about this, and I'll see you guys later.